The world is full of therapists, methods, and healing promises. And let's be honest, it can be hard to know what really fits. In the end, the most powerful factor in therapy isn't the method, it's the connection. So here's a real question. Do you feel safe with the person who's supposed to help you heal? If you're curious about how I work, this is a chance to get to know me before we ever met. Who am I? I'm Karsten Noack, therapist, coach, and companion on a journey for heroes and heroines. I support people facing anxiety, trauma, and the deep emotional wounds left by narcissistic abuse. That past requires presence and trust. So I offer clarity right from the start. Where it began. Becoming a therapist wasn't part of my original plan. My first degree was in engineering. Later, I added a degree in economics. That led me into the world of business, marketing, consulting, leadership development, communication. I spent many years coaching professionals and entrepreneurs, but life has a way of calling us somewhere deeper. A turning point. At 16, I stumbled upon a book on autogenic training. I was intrigued. Could this really influence how we think, feel, and act? That question sparked something. Soon I discovered self-hypnosis, and it stayed with me for decades, through university, through business, through life storms. It became more than a tool. It became a path, inward. And over time, I realized helping people regulate their nervous system, transform fear, and reclaim their voice was the work I was meant to do. What truly moves me? I care deeply about people's inner landscapes. Not just their goals, but their stories, their patterns, their pain, their strength. That's why I kept returning to in-depth therapeutic training, trauma therapy, parts work, hypnotherapy, somatic methods, system thinking. Since 1998, I've been supporting people who want to live with more presence, freedom, and clarity, both personally and professionally. And when change goes deep, coaching is not enough. That's why I chose to become a licensed therapist, to walk beside people with both compassion and clinical responsibility. My approach? I work in a solution-oriented and trauma-informed way. Instead of staying stuck in why, I invite the next question. What helps now? What strengthens you? What leads you forward without force? My work is not about fixing. It's about helping you to return to your own inner authority. The feedback I receive confirms this. Real change is possible, and it begins when you start listening to what you already know deep inside. A special focus. One area especially close to my heart is the healing of people impacted by narcissistic abuse. This work requires a rare combination of clarity, empathy, and emotional precision. If you've experienced emotional manipulation, self-doubt, or deep confusion in relationships, you're not alone. You are not the problem. And together, we create a space where gaslighting stops and truth begins to breathe again. And you? If you're still listening, something in you might be curious or quietly hopeful. You're welcome here. You'll find more about how I work in my articles, videos, and guided practices. That way, you can get a real sense of me before we ever speak. And if it feels right, I invite you to reach out for a first conversation. Presence is important. So what? You are not fragile. You are someone who has learned to survive, and now you're ready to live more fully. Let's walk this path together, gently, clearly, and with courage. Karsten Noack, therapist, coach, companion for the journey home to yourself.